Welcome to another episode of the Palace Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts.
The middle of the 15 to the 20, breaks free of the 25 to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5, touchdown Bears!
What's up, Palace Huddlers?
Huddle up! Almost went a little claw, but
I saw that.
whatever. I still smile, like in the middle of the highlight. I just smile, thinking of Hester streaking down the field, looking up at himself. Like, it's just unbelievable.
And then just tears of sadness as Indianapolis
it's more important not to
took care of business. Yeah.
And if it wasn't obvious, then just knowing Rex Grossman wasn't it. That was it.
Right.
In the fourth quarter of that game. It's like, all right, he's not it.
I just rewatched the video of from the 100 years of the NFL when Peyton Manning was going around, and it was like him with the super fans. And one of the things they said was, how would the game have turned out differently if Ditka came in and played quarterback for Rex Grossman? And they're like, he's in his 60s, so maybe like 98 to 10, and 98 to 10.
Gotta love the legend of Ditka. Gotta love it.
Yeah, but Peyton became an honorary super fan. He got dipped in the au jus and whoosh, came out and glorious, absolutely glorious. And the Bears have been pretty bad ever since, but. So here we are. Another loss on the books. That's 4 in a row. But before we get into that, we're going to be previewing the Vikings. Before we get into that, please, we are 4 subscribers away. 4 subscribers away from giving away a free NFL jersey of your choice. Non-custom jersey. Doesn't matter what team. Okay? It can be the Bears if you want it to be the Bears. It can be, you want to jump ship and go cheer on, the Taylor Swift Chiefs. You want to go be a Doll fan, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, right? Maybe you really want to jump ship and you want to be a Detroit Lion fan because that team looked good this weekend. Yes. If you want to do that, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button right now. 4 subscribers away from giving away that jersey. All you have to do is be subscribed and you have a chance to win. That's it. All right. I don't even know if I want to talk Bears Packers with you. Like, this just, you can say whatever you want.
I mean, it's just another, Eberflus just flusing up the end of the game. In the moment in our text chats, I think I was more defending the conservative approach. I did say I think they should get it on the right hash. I did say that in the text chat, but I was, I get it. You can't take another sack. But I mean, in retrospect, hearing you and Justin, and it's just like, that's just a loser's mentality. You go out and win that game. And it's just this conservativeness. And like the other point is, what's the point of being conservative? What's the point of not running that extra play or two when you lost anyway?
Yeah.
So if you're going to lose the game, lose trying to win it. Like, it's just,
It's funny because we didn't know what was happening when Justin and I were recording the Sunday episode. Yeah. But literally, while that game was happening.
Exact same scenario. Yeah.
Not even that, just exact same scenario. There was also a Hail Mary in that play.
Right.
And what happens? Jim Harbaugh does everything correctly.
Right. They played it aggressive on offense, and then they guarded the sidelines on defense.
And same situation, had a chance to win with a field goal. J.K. Dobbins runs it, scores a touchdown. Game's over.
Right. And you got to think that wasn't the only offensive play they were going to run there. If he got tackled for 3 yards, they were going to run another one and another one. Like, they had
Chicago
the ball, they had timeouts. They're going to win the game.
Chicago could have done the same thing. And look, I know you don't want to take a sack there, but you run a chance at play action. I'm fine with that. Or you just hand the ball off and hope that you gain 2, 3, 4 yards. And like you said, you want to put on the right hash.
Put it on the right hash. I mean,
make it a run to the right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, and then to compound things, he comes back in Sunday and Monday again. Defending, we didn't need to. If we just execute the field goal, we don't need to run that extra play. It's just I've just had enough of it. I've had enough of the boneheaded decisions and then the complete lack of respect for his audience in his press conferences defending the bonehead decisions.
That's the perfect segue into the first news or noise. Perfect segue into the first news or noise. All right. For those of you who have not listened to this show before, news or noise, basically what we do is we give some hot topics that are going around right now, whether it's on social media, whether it's in the national media, whatever. And we're going to throw that out there and we're going to decide if it's news, meaning, yeah, definitely, possibility, sure. Or it's noise. No, it's just a bunch of nonsense, malarkey. Why are we even talking about this? Let's move on. All right. So you just talked about how Matt Eberflus does not have any, I'm just going to say, he doesn't have any balls when it comes to getting to the microphone and taking ownership of what he screws up. He constantly just treads water, reminds me of Nagy at this point now. And I don't know if it's just because they're in the same situation of their jobs are on the line. They're just towing the putting a little bit of toe in the water, but they're not like saying anything. It's just a bunch of nonsense, defending their actions. Take ownership. Look, you look back at the tape, you made a mistake. So we have now seen Thomas Brown at the podium twice. I know Justin likes to call him Mini Tomlin. We've talked about it a few times in the chat, how much we like the way he is as a coach, as a person talking. So that leads us to Thomas Brown should be a candidate to replace Matt Eberflus as head coach next season. News or noise?
So news or noise, got to be binary, right? I'm not gonna tread the middle. So I will say that at this point, it's noise.
Okay.
He hasn't done enough yet, right? I know that he's actually held head coach interviews prior to this year. So, I mean, it's not necessarily that this would be coming out of nowhere. He was an assistant head coach for a Super Bowl team with the Rams. He's been an offensive coordinator twice now. I mean, he's got a decent resume, but it's just on his own. I don't think he's done enough yet other than look the part at the podium, which, like we talked last week, that's not unimportant. Like your communication style is your communication style. That has a lot to do with how you're going to conduct yourself in front of the team. And that's really important. He's very impressive. He's very direct. He's, I especially like the way he answers questions that he knows a reporter is not going to like the answer to, but it doesn't matter. That's your answer. This is the answer I'm giving you. And we're just going to deal with it that way. So, I mean, I like Thomas Brown. I do. I just think right now to say he should be on the short list of actual candidates for head coach, let's see how a few more weeks of this. Let's see if this offense really rounds into his offense. Let's see how the players continue to respond to him before, again, he goes on any short list of head coach candidates.
We did not really collaborate much ahead of the episode. We don't know which way either of us are usually going to go. I'm glad you went noise because I'm saying news.
Okay,
and
good.
The reason I'm saying news is for two things. One, I'm not waiting till the end of the season. Get rid of Eberflus now, and let's see what Thomas Brown can do as an interim coach. If he can prove himself now over the last, it's not going to happen now, right? Because they would have had to have done it Monday. If the Bears go out and lay another egg against Minnesota, come up with a loss, either they get blown out or Eberflus has another stupid mistake, put Thomas Brown in there. Give him a chance. You mentioned it. He was already a head coaching candidate going into this season. He is on Tom Pelissero's young coaches to watch list for head coaching jobs. I know he's not the Ben Johnson of the world. I know he's not the Cliff Kingsbury of the world. Like, he's never been a head coach before. It fits what Chicago would do, so I'm okay with them giving him that chance. But rather than wait, you already have him here. You want to see if he's the candidate? Give him the reins. Give him the opportunity. See what happens. What else do you have to lose? You're a 4-6 team. You're in last place in your division. The rest of the division is running away from you. The chances of you making the playoffs, I haven't looked, but my guess is probably in the 20s. Might even be lower than that. Give the guy a chance now. Why not?
Yeah, so I mean, I love that point. I would just go. I would say that if Eberflus happens to get fired after this Viking games, which we know he's not going to, I think that would be a lot to just throw on this guy. He's still trying to, take over somebody else's offense midseason. Now you're going to have him take over the entire team midseason. Maybe if Eberflus is let go beginning to middle of December, maybe you give him the last 3-4 weeks to see how he goes. But if Eberflus to go now, I think you see a more veteran guy like Hoke or something like that taking over the team and not necessarily straight to Thomas Brown.
I just want to see it.
Yeah, I get it.
I just also want to see chaos at this point, and I want to see the Bears do something they've never done.
I want to see something new. I want to see something different, right?
See
something new. Yeah, 100%.
And where's Ryan Poles right now? Where is his accountability?
I mean, he does his little 12 minutes on Sunday before the game of scripted questions. But yeah, I mean, in the past, when there's been issues that pop up, he'll come front and center. So you want to, I guess, stay optimistic about that as a Bears fan. And maybe he just doesn't want to have to come out and give the dreaded vote of confidence and then fire him the next week, So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Well, if it's not Thomas Brown, maybe it should be Kyle Shanahan. Wait, what?
Isn't he coaching another NFL team right now? What do you mean, Kyle Shanahan?
He is coaching another NFL team. Apparently, not well enough, because 49ers fans have had enough with Kyle Shanahan. There's a ton of 49ers fans out there that want Kyle Shanahan to go away. They're done with him. They think he is never going to amount to getting them over the hump and winning the Super Bowl. I don't understand it, but if that's truly the case, the Chicago Bears should do whatever it takes. Screw Thomas Brown. Bye-bye, Matt Eberflus. The end of the year, in fact, not even the end of the year. Ryan Poles, the reason why he better not be talking to the media is because he's on the phone right now with Lynch in San Francisco and saying, hey, you want to get rid of him? What do you want for him? Because they should do anything, do whatever it takes to trade for Kyle Shanahan to be the next Chicago Bears head coach. News or noise?
So I will say noise just as so far as do anything it takes. Okay. Like, I know there's been some head coaches trade in the past. There is some precedent, but they always involve first round picks and sometimes multiple first round picks. This Bears roster isn't there yet. It's just not there yet. And these first round picks need to come in and be impactful right away if we're going to take advantage of this competitive window we think we have. So I'm not ready to forfeit those first round picks right now for a very good NFL coach. I'm not trying to say that he's not a very good NFL coach, but this isn't Andy Reid coming off multiple Super Bowls in the past few years. This is a very good coach who's gotten there a couple times and failed every time when he got there. So, I mean, complaining about that is definitely something only a spoiled fan base complains about. Yes. But, I'm not doing whatever it takes to get Kyle Shanahan.
All right. Well, maybe this might change your mind a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see. In the history of the NFL, there have been 8 NFL trades involving head coaches. Okay. We're not going to go into what was traded for them because that's going to take too long. Those names include Don Shula, Bill Parcells, Mike Holmgren, Bill Belichick, John Gruden, Bruce Arians, and recently Sean Payton. Out of those 8, 4 have gone on to win Super Bowls with their new teams. It's pretty good odds.
Those are pretty good odds, but you look at those coaches, they were somebody's before the trade, obviously. 100%. And I'm sure that the teams acquiring them saw the coach as the final piece to the championship puzzle. The Bears are still a few impact players away, plus an actual head coach away from true contending.
Let's also point out that it took Tom Brady for Bruce Arians to win the Super Bowl in Tampa.
Correct.
So that was a little bit lopsided there, right? But
Bruce Arians took Jameis Winston to 5,000 yards and,
35 touchdowns, 35
interceptions, something like that. Yeah.
Look, I'm saying noise too, but I'm saying noise for the fact that this is stupid, and I don't even understand why we're talking about it. I know Greg Braggs of CHGO has been pushing it out there a lot on social media as a joke.
Yeah.
Literally as a joke, pretending he's a 49ers fan because he's seen like this happen, and now he's like really stirring the pot, putting flames to the fire. The 49ers are not trading away Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere. I think it's a really dumb just fan perspective of, like you said, being spoiled. They're having a little bit of a downtime. They were without Christian McCaffrey for a lot of the beginning of the year. They've had a lot of injury issues. Brock Purdy hasn't been as good as he had been the last couple of years. They're still a very good football team. Why? Because they have a very good head coach. He's not going anywhere. This will never happen. End of story.
Fair enough.
All right, we got one more news or noise for you. Then we'll take a quick break. The Chicago, it is time to start looking towards mock drafts again. News or noise? 4-6 team.
I'm very, very reluctantly saying news, and that is just so soul crushing that's where we are again. But the Bears are 4-6. Okay. The NFC is it's a tough division or a tough conference. It's looking like maybe a 10-win team could be the number 7 seed, but like the Bears have already lost to those teams. So the Bears would have to get to an 11 wins. And the Bears are 4-6. So which means to get to 11-6, they have to go 7-0 to make the playoffs. Pretty basic math there, but I mean, as optimistic as anybody could possibly be, the Bears are not running the table here. So I'm just saying it's time to look towards mock draft. I am not saying tank. Caleb Williams' development is way more important than a couple slots in the draft order. Like we're not going to be at the top of this draft. I mean, I don't think. I don't know, maybe Rob, are we going to go 4-13? Is that a possibility here? Right. But I think there's still 6, maybe 7 wins out there, to get with Caleb Williams' true development. If Caleb Williams stalls, then it's a totally different conversation we'll be having in 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm glad I looked this up because I said around 20% chance making the playoffs. No, the Bears have a 1% chance of making the playoffs right now. It's 1%.
I would have said 7 or 8. I didn't think it'd do 1, but I thought single digits.
If they win this week, it goes up to 2%.
Ooh.
And if they lose, it's below 1. It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Again, we're not talking about tanking, right? We're not talking about we're just saying, hey, why don't we take a look at who the defensive linemen and offensive linemen are that are going to be drafted between 8 and 12 and just kind of start getting familiar with that range.
Right now, it is time to develop Caleb Williams, develop Rome Odunze, try to figure out what you have and where you can, continue to build, where you might need to cut bait. I don't think Keenan Allen coming back is the right move anymore.
I don't think it's the right move for Keenan Allen either. So.
Nope. Go find yourself. Walk away into free agency. Go find yourself a winning championship caliber team. Hell, go play for the damn Chiefs.
Yeah. They'd love to have him. Yeah. Him and Travis Kelce running in the middle of the field. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it would be 1%. That's bad. And I think it has a lot to do with what you said. They've lost to key teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
The division is running away from them. It's time. I made a mention of it in our group chat. I think it's time to start prepping for our December mock offseason.
Yeah, I was really hoping it wasn't going to come to that, but it's
one of my favorite episodes to do. Like it really is.
I mean, we love, all 3 of us love it. You do a great job with it, but we all love doing it too. Like it's great, but
yeah. So I'm going on vacation
playoff talk.
First week of December, and when I get back, I think it's time for me to hit the tape and start getting into it's December is usually when I start doing it anyway, but I think it's time to start looking at the draft, who's available, where they can go, the possibilities of where they're going to fall, and as far as like which draft pick ranges.
Do some real head coach research, not just national narrative on some stuff. And
exactly. There are some names out there that I was reading on the Tom Pelissero list that I wouldn't have thought of off the top of my head. But, there's guys like Todd Monken that I would be interested in, who's got head coaching experience in college and has been doing well with Baltimore. That was a name that was on the top of my head. But then there's just some guys like guys out of the Cardinals that I wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah, I saw that name recently. Someone popped up, the Cardinals offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Names escape me right now, but yeah.
So, yeah, I think.
So, yeah, it's time. It's time, Bears fans. It's time to look towards next season.
The pivotal. There's always next year. I hate that phrase.
At least this year is still compelling because we have legitimate pieces on offense, and hopefully this is a legitimate offensive coordinator. So it's still compelling to see, can this come together? Is this a team that can consistently score 23, 24 points or more in the NFL? And we should hopefully get those answers towards the end of by the end of the season.
Well, let's take a break and figure out if they can at least do it this week against the Vikings.
Okay.
Until then, enjoy these ads. All right, Hallis Huddlers, we are back. This is the preview episode for the Minnesota Vikings in Week 12 of the 2024 NFL season. As we just found out, the Bears have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. But we still have a game to dissect.
Saying there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. There's a good reference to Dumb and Dumber if you guys haven't seen it. Or if you have and you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. Anyway, something happened last week. And it was probably the biggest achievement that I've had in my, what I call career, because this is not my job. Covering the Chicago Bears, right? Like I do cover them for the Bear Goggles On website. I have kind of become a little bit of the name behind that website. I think that's part of the reason why I was reached out to for this. And I got an opportunity last week to interview Matt Forte. Now, I have done things like USAA events where I go to Hallis Hall and I have gotten to watch, current military personnel partake in a Bears-sponsored event. I got to meet Jason McKee. That was an awesome experience. I talked with him, had a little bit of a back and forth. We now follow each other on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call the stupid thing. That was awesome. And now the Matt Forte thing takes the cake, right? Because look, Jason McKee is awesome. I love Jason McKee, but Matt Forte was like my guy. That was the prime of my Bears fandom growing up. He was the reason why I won my first ever fantasy football championship. And it was an awesome experience. Such a humble guy, so easy to talk to, down to earth. I got to get to know him a little bit more, some of the things that he's got going on in his life. A lot of events, and we got to talk about the Chicago Bears. I threw what I thought was a hard-hitting question at him. I thought he might try to dodge.
No,
I even gave him an out. I gave him the out.
Yeah, he hit it head on. It was fine.
He had no problems talking about it. So if you want, please go check out that episode. I did put it out on the Hallis Huddle podcast. It is out and up as of a few days ago. Go check that out, the Matt Forte episode. It's not me talking about a Matt Forte interview.
No, it's a legit interview, and Matt does a great job. He's very engaging. He's very down to earth. He's very cool. You get to learn a little bit more about him, just about the kind of man he is, the kind of man he wants to be and stuff like that. It's not just about football and pickleball. You learn a lot about him. So it's really well done. And just to kind of throw us on top of it, Rob, you did a pretty good job of explaining, how this came about. But, I mean, you guys listen to the Hallis Huddle. You guys, like our opinions, don't like our opinions. I don't know what it is, but me and Justin, we're kind of just fans here. We enjoy doing this podcast, but Rob's out there, actually doing the work for Bears Goggles On. It's a very, doing well website. What, you guys get like 1 million clicks a month? Like, it does very well. Like, Rob's got, some more connections. I know you invited to Alice Hall. I know some other connections that, he hasn't necessarily mentioned here. So, you got a real kind of Bears guy here, and that's why you're listening to us. I just, this Forte interview is kind of something that's actually come to the surface of the type of connections that Rob's been able to build, and me and Justin are just like, hey, Rob, thanks for letting us talk about the Bears with you,
Hey, I mean, look, I started this thing with Jeremy from the New York Post, and now, no offense to Jeremy, but doing it with you two is way more fun for me because we have a connection. Like, we literally do this on our phones. We do this in person.
That's
like,
what we'd be doing if we weren't recording it. So.
Exactly. So this is again, no offense to Jeremy. I like him a lot, but this is just way better for me and a lot more fun. So, and now having you on weekly, this has made it even more fun.
Yeah, it's been great. Really enjoyed it. It's a good outlet for me too. Outlet for the crazy.
Exactly. All right. Well, I appreciate the kind words. But let's get into Bears versus Vikings. I don't even know where to start. We always start with the injury report, so we'll start there. As far as the injury report goes, we got the same few guys. Like, the list was short last week, but we have a few of the same. Now I lost it. There it is. A few of the same guys that were there before, with Kyron Amengaji, who has not played the last couple of weeks and isn't playing again with a calf injury. Elijah Hicks is on here now, which is a little bit disturbing because, well, we got Jaquan Brisker on IR, right? So now he's out. So what are we going to do at safety? Hopefully he can play, but he hasn't practiced the last two with an ankle. Ryan Bates just came back, and Ryan Bates is back down. He is also out with a concussion. I don't know if he's going to clear concussion protocol at this point. It's already Thursday going into Friday. The one that worries me, I think, the most, though, is DeAndre Swift.
Yep, that's the one I wanted to talk about, like how worried are we? At least he was a limited participant today, so that was nice. But
didn't practice on Wednesday, limited participant today, and he's been one of the driving factors on this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that DJ Moore is a great player, but I think that, ball in space, like DeAndre Swift's the guy you want. You saw that move he put on McKinney the other day. I mean, I think he's the best playmaker when used right. He still gets tackled way too easily after 2 yards for my liking, but when he can break free, he's electric.
Yeah.
And you need a healthy groin to make the moves that he makes. So hopefully it's not too serious.
Yeah. You need a healthy groin for a lot of things. Hey, this is an explicit show. It's an explicit show.
We all thought it.
What do we got on the Viking side?
On the Viking side is actually this is probably the easiest injury report we've had since we've come on here. Started doing this show. There's really Sam Darnold's on the list, but he's a full participant today. Aaron Jones on the list, but full participants. I'm really not worried about those. The only guys that are kind of backup. He's kind of involved in the offense. Tight end did not practice. Josh Oliver the last 2 days hasn't practiced, so maybe he'll be out, maybe not. And kind of one of the bigger injuries that they've had is Christian Darrisaw, their big left tackle, went on IR a couple of weeks ago, so they're missing him on the offensive line, and that seems like
don't forget they did trade for Cam Robinson out of Jacksonville to help
help replace it. But I mean, my understanding is that Cam Robinson was available for a reason.
Of course. Darrisaw he was one of the guys that I liked coming out of college, and he's been fantastic.
Yeah, him and Tevin Jenkins were ranked very closely, and then I guess the story is the Vikings took Darrisaw before the Bears picked, so the Bears traded down. And I didn't mention Tevin Jenkins; he's also on there, but that's just Amengaji, Bates, and Jenkins are just assumed to be on the injury report every week. I don't think you gotta
exactly.
Yeah. Jenkins was a full participant, though, so let's say that Jenkins was a full participant.
He'll be a full participant. He's going to start, but he's going to be out in the middle of the second quarter because that's just what happens.
Right.
All right, you added something this week that I'm excited about.
Last week in the Shane Waldron discussion, we talked about maybe trying to pay more attention to local narrative, not just national narrative. So I thought maybe in this weekly preview, let's go see what some of the Vikings beat writers are saying. Now, I'm not doing tons of research on this. I have an athletic subscription. I have an ESPN insider subscription, whatever you call it. So just kind of see what those guys are saying. And despite being 8-2, the message coming out of these beat writers isn't overwhelmingly positive. They're still in like convincing themselves that they're good mode. The running game isn't as effective as they want, according to I wanted to remember his name. I'm gonna get it because I feel bad. The beat writer from the Athletic. They're just not pushing people in the middle, and they're getting nothing in runs. Alec Lewis is the guy's name from the Athletic.
It doesn't help though with Darrisaw being out.
Yeah, Darrisaw being out, but it's really the interior line that they're even worried about more than the tackle. So they're missing their stud left tackle, and they're not happy about their interior defensive line. Their last 3 weeks that the Vikings played were they kind of went through the AFC South gauntlet the way the Bears did at the beginning of the season, and they basically squeaked out victories against the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. And, we talked a lot on this podcast about how you beat the bad teams means something, and they didn't blow these teams out, right? You talked about the Lions destroying Jacksonville earlier. The Bears destroyed Jacksonville.
Yep.
And the Vikings just squeaked it out against Jacksonville. So that's something that they're kind of concerned about. And really, I think you talked about how much you like DVOA. I like DVOA. I like some of these advanced metrics. The advanced metrics love the Vikings. They really do. They have the number 4 overall DVOA, the number 1 defensive DVOA. They're Vikings are 5th in point differential in the entire NFL. They're number 1 in opponent QBR at 49.7, which means on average, like QBR is meant to like say average starting QB should be somewhere between 50 and 60. And the Vikings are holding their opponent QBs to 49, which means that, they're basically, average to below average every single quarterback they play, despite who it is. They have the most takeaways, and they have the 3rd most sacks in the league. That's what their defense is. But the narrative coming out is that we're afraid we're not actually as good as our record, and I think that that's a direct reflection of who they've got at quarterback, Sam Darnold. Now, coming into the season, I was pro Sam Darnold not being garbage, because that's what the national narrative was, if he was garbage. And I thought Sam Darnold was competent enough to at least support Justin Jefferson as a legitimate fantasy asset. That was more so what I was talking more than winning football games. But you saw that even that competency with this defense has led them to be able to win football games against other bad teams. So this narrative about the Vikings beat writers being worried that they're not as good as their record only, I think, is really a worry when it comes to playing against the elite in the league, not necessarily the Bears of the league. So I don't know. You want to go into a little bit more about Darnold or some other players to pay attention to, or just?
Well, that's interesting you talked about Darnold in that way, because Justin and I, in our fantasy league, have Justin Jefferson. And the name that we were contemplating around the same time with Justin Jefferson was Jamar Chase.
And
the beginning of the year, it looked like we made the right choice.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold came out hot. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's happened over the last 3-4 weeks, but he has definitely cooled off.
Well, he's cooled off with Darnold. I mean, Darnold, had 2 games with 3 interceptions in the last 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah. So Sam, and that was my concern with Justin Jefferson, was like, I don't trust Sam Darnold at all. Like, I just don't. Like, I thought the Vikings were going to be trash. I didn't take into account the Brian Flores part of everything, because he is a very good coach, and you can see that with this defense. They're kind of built similar to Chicago, other than instead of having a rookie quarterback, you have a quarterback that just has not amounted to his potential. So Sam Darnold is definitely bringing this team down, but what else are they going to do? JJ McCarthy's on IR for the rest of the year. They have no other options. They're not going to be a Super Bowl team the way they're built.
I mean, they're not a Super Bowl team with Sam Darnold, but they can win 11 games with Sam Darnold. And I think that's kind of what everyone's realizing now. It's like, we don't suck. Oh, but we're not great. Okay. All right.
But the way this league,
the Vikings team, apparently.
Right. And the way the season started, I thought maybe Sam Darnold was going to get like a Baker Mayfield rejuvenation here, right? Like Mayfield has turned out to be a good quarterback for Tampa. Got him in the right system, got some good pieces around him, something he didn't have in Cleveland. And I don't know.
Darnold's allowed to have some ebbs and flows. So, I mean, if he just had a couple down games, he's still got 7 more games this season to prove himself as a Baker Mayfield resurrection.
Right.
So it's not necessarily over for him.
Right.
But there's definitely some questions about him.
But yeah, but they have a lot of guys. They have a lot of weapons, especially on offense, right? You got TJ Hawkinson, who just came back recently from IR. He's been a beast in this league. I'm always worried about tight ends, especially against the way that the Bears play against the middle. But they proved me wrong with Tucker Kraft last week. Like they did not allow. I don't even think they allowed to catch the Tucker Kraft last week.
Yeah, it cost me my parlays. I had a 7-leg parlay on the Bears game, and the only one I missed was the Tucker Kraft leg.
Tucker Kraft. Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
I just needed an anytime touchdown from DeAndre Hopkins for me to win my 5-leg parlay, and then I would have made all my money back that I lost from earlier in the day, because I went so heavily on Green Bay. But that's here nor there. Oh, if you want to bet on the Bears, by the way, or any NFL team, you want to join in on the fun of this, go over to our sign-up page, sponsored by BetStamp, signupexpert.com/huddle. You will find all of the sports books in your region with all the best odds, all the best sign-up offers. Go check that out. Sign up today, deposit, make some money, gamble responsibly. Okay, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, we already talked about. Jordan Addison, we didn't even mention. That was a guy I loved coming out of USC. Loved coming out of USC. Yeah. Has proved me right again when it comes to NFL prospects. And I don't hit on them all. I'm not going to say I'm here like the best, but I do a lot of research, and you
definitely hit on some. You hit on some that don't necessarily have like the public support either.
Yeah, Jared Verse got knocked down so much, and you like Jared Verse too. I remember talking about this, but Jared Verse got knocked down so much, and I just looked up his stats, and he is having a heck of a good start to his NFL career. Aaron Jones, though, is the one that bothers me. Look, I know you said that the beat writers are concerned about their running game through the middle, but Chicago has been awful at the running game through the middle, and it's even been worse with now Andrew Billings not being there. He's out for the rest of the season. Last week, Josh Jacobs gained 134 all-purpose yards, 76 on the ground, 58 through the air, scored a touchdown. Look, Aaron Jones is not on Josh Jacobs' level right now as far as a running back. He's always hurt. I think he's a little bit older. But he's still averaging 4.4 yards per carry. Like, I'm sorry. I am very concerned about that from a Bears perspective, because this team just can't prove to stop it. The other, and this is, and I mentioned him a little bit already, but the other name that I'm concerned about, well, look, Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're going to another game being thoroughly outcoached. Like it's
100%.
Yeah,
Matt Eberflus is going to prove again that he is the worst coach in the NFC North.
Yeah, I mean it's we can get into, I guess we get into a little bit, but I mean Matt Eberflus is 5-17 in one-score games, and like Kevin O'Connell is like 17-5 in one-score games. Like it's crazy how like the Vikings were really good 2 years ago with Kevin O'Connell, and they didn't have all this DVOA support behind what they won because Kevin O'Connell knows how to coach to win a game.
Yeah. Now you got Brian Flores, who is another really good coach and knows how to, like, he does a lot of like exotic blitz packages where it looks like he's blitzing and he doesn't. They don't look like they're blitzing and then they do. Just a lot of confusion up front, which is going to be really hard for Caleb Williams to dissect as a rookie quarterback. We saw him do a really good job at the end of the game last week against the Packers. I hope he can build upon that going into this game. But look, they've allowed under 20 points in the last 7 out of 8 games. This defense is just as good as the Bears defense. You listed a bunch of other stats that proves that they're just as good, if not better, than the Chicago Bears, especially with some of the guys the Bears are missing right now. The Bears on offense haven't scored more than 20 points in the last 4 weeks. So it is not looking good for Chicago. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a noon game?
Noon, yeah.
Sunday away game at noon. Matt Eberflus cannot find wins in that category.
It's a home game, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I'm just looking at ESPN. I guess they just give you your team second, but okay. All right.
Yeah, no. The only reason I know that is because I would be getting more money because I sold all my Bears tickets that were left for the year.
Right. Yeah, I'll trust you on that one. Okay. Yeah, it still lists Chicago Bears are 4-2 at home, and Minnesota Vikings are 4-1 away here on ESPN, but that's fine. I think it's a home game, Rob.
Is it? They have 3 home games in a row?
Believe so.
You're right. It is a home game. Okay, take all that back.
Well, I hope you got your money for the tickets, Rob.
I don't get it until after the game is
Okay.
over.
All right. Are you saying there's tickets available for sale for Sunday?
No. They're gone, but they don't actually give me the funds until after the game.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that because it was the Patriots at home, the Packers at home.
Yeah.
So they have 3 straight home games.
3 straight home games.
Lose all 3 of them.
Yeah, and then they have 3 straight road games to kind of counterbalance that.
All right. I am wrong.
Sorry. I mean, I don't think the story changes much.
No, they're still going to lose.
Matt Eberflus's home record didn't matter last week. You know, his record in 1-score games mattered last week. And I think that's probably what's going to happen again. You got any more to say about the matchup, or should we just kind of go into the prediction?
No, but I have a fun thing to talk about in the prediction.
Okay. Yeah.
So now, not only do I want us to predict the outcome of the game, I do want to know in what embarrassing way are the Chicago Bears going to lose next? Maybe not this game, but next. The next loss that they have in an embarrassing way that's probably most likely to do with Matt Eberflus, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to like predict that because you just don't think that like they're going to just choose to not defend the sideline with 11 seconds left in the game, right? How do you predict that? And then just let the Hail Mary go.
You
right?
also would
like,
think
how do you predict that you're just not going to block the entire defensive special teams line? Like, how do you predict that? Like,
look, Cole Kmet talked about this. That was a different situation because they knew that they had to stop the kick. So in those situations,
they got to rush an extra guy because they didn't have to worry about the fake field goal.
Correct.
Like, I understand that, but it's still like, you know, it's mano a mano at that point, and you were dominant.
He wasn't making excuses. He was saying, "Look, we knew it was coming. We should have done better." And he's on that kicking block. Yeah. He's on that team, right? He's in on those plays. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. So I will predict. Look, this is going to be a close game again. I think I'm going to predict that the Bears do find a way to get to 20 points. I think they get to exactly 20 points. I also think that they're going to give up 24. So I think it's going to be 24-20, Vikings over the Bears. I don't know if this is going to be the game that they lose in an embarrassing way, but I will predict that there will be another one that happens this year. And the way that I think it's going to happen, and this is going to be way out there, I think somehow they're going to lose on a safety.
Oh, God. And then how is that going to be Eberflus's fault?
Because he's going to call some stupid he's going to make some stupid decision. Some stupid decision.
Okay.
They'll be backed up at like the 3, and he's going to call a pass play. And it's not him. It's going to be Thomas Brown, obviously, calling the pass play. But I don't know. Somehow he's going to be involved in it. I don't know how it's going to work out.
On safety would be that'd be a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with the old Bears, like last year or the year before, you at least assume, all right, well, shotgun snap went over a head or something. But, you know,
maybe that's it.
Coleman Shelton's credit that hasn't happened yet, you know.
Snapping issues have not been an issue this year.
Yeah. And really, we haven't really talked about Coleman Shelton the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, but I think it's a good sign for Coleman Shelton, you know.
He's had some bad moments. Yeah. I will say that. He hasn't been good, but he also hasn't been
not as bad as the rest of the other bad moments we've had to talk about. So from my side, I got another close game again, but at the end of the day, Matt Eberflus can't win close games. All Kevin O'Connell does is win close games. So the Bears aren't going to win this, but it'll be competitive. I also think it's going to be a bad game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. You know, they'll try to dress it up as a classic, NFC, North type thing. But I have the Vikings 16, Bears 13. I don't think you're going to see too much moving the ball up and down the field too much. I think the Vikings are going to have some turnovers. The Bears just, kind of ineffective, spin in their wheel type stuff. And at the end of the day, the Bears are going to lose another game where they won the turnover battle and still lost. I'm going to say the Bears will end up losing a game because Eberflus tries to challenge a play without any timeouts.
Oh no. That would be it. That's way better than mine.
It's got to be like a delay a game or personal foul or some type of penalty. And
that's way better than mine because that's definitely on him, right? He throws the challenge, and he's not good at throwing challenge flags.
Right, and it'll be one like he would definitely have won if he had the timeouts left or something. Like,
yes,
yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, you win. We all lose, but you win.
We all lose. Oh, man.
All right. Well, enjoy the game on Sunday. I know I will. And,
so that's going to be another one where I'm not going to be around for maybe the second half of it. We'll see.
Okay.
We got basketball games scheduled at the gym at the school again, so I'll be there.
And then the following week, we have Bears-Lions on Thanksgiving. So we probably won't do a midweek episode, is my guess. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze one in there. Maybe on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. But then you're going out of town, right? So maybe
I'm going out of town.
I'll do something Sunday.
Yeah, I will be here. I leave the 1st. Is that a Sunday? I leave Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, maybe me and Justin will do that. The second trimester recap.
Yeah.
Episode. That'll be fun. I mean, whatever. I love doing the show with you, but I mean, Justin's my guy, so it'll be fun to do.
Yeah, change of pace.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until then, everybody, House Huddlers, Bob, please bear down and claws up.
Go Bears.
Da Bears.